On today's Giraffe Talk, we're covering the conflicts in Iran and Ukraine. We're going to go over legal proceeding. We're going to talk about 4th of July and the celebrations held, diarrhea. We're going to cover some recent developments involving AI. And we're going to spend a lot of time talking about rich sex offenders. And in particular, Sean Puff Daddy Combs.
What topics are in the news?
Breaking news. Suspect is still on the run.
The victim remains in critical.
We will explain how it affects you and expert sources indicate.
The story is still developing. The reports still remain unconfirmed.
They're calling it Kino.
Putin has ordered his generals to plan an attack on Kyiv. This is after the series of attacks that Ukraine has committed on Russia, some of the deadliest attacks in the last 2 years. Putin is saying this is causing problems for him in Russia, and he may have to conscript up to 500,000 more Russians because the Ukrainians pretty much killed all the other guys. And Zelensky has stated that in the Black Sea they have struck 35 Russian ships. He's also going to be attending the NATO summit, but has been barred from speaking as not to offend Donald Trump. Now what's happening in Iran? The war is officially starting up again, and Trump says he's working on a new deal. And if they don't accept the deal, he's going to strike Iran very hard. Donald Trump has stated that every ship that's struck in the Strait of Hormuz will result in another power plant or bridge being bombed. Trump has stated that every ship that comes through the Strait of Hormuz will get a 20% toll. Iran continues to strike against American service members. Pete Hegseth was questioned, if we destroyed their strike capabilities, how are they still striking? And he's declined to make a comment. But he is commenting on one thing for sure. They're doing testosterone tests on soldiers above the age of 30 and are going to get them hormone therapy. So I guess his statements that we can't help trans soldiers because of logistic issues was a bunch of bullshit. And speaking of trans people, ATF is thinking about banning firearms to all trans people in the United States. Iran has suggested that they may have to assassinate our president. And Trump said, don't fucking do that. We'll send over 1,000 missiles to Iran and turn it into a fucking smoking crater. Ro-Khanna made a visit to Israel and has been detained by Israeli settlers. And 100 Democrats voted against sending Israel billions of dollars. Senator John Fetterman was fucking pissed. Said he might have to leave the Democrat Party. And in other foreign affairs, Mexico's thinking about pursuing legal action regarding all of the deaths of Mexican citizens by ICE members. Now let's look at some more domestic affairs. Peter Thiel has accused the Pope of being a Chinese agent because he's against AI technologies. And his buddy Alex Clark, the Palantir CEO, suffered a 30-minute long mental breakdown during a press conference. Sony has stated they're phasing out physical games. They're not doing discs anymore, and instead of converting the facilities for AI technologies. And when we're on the topic of game consoles, the reviews are in. The new Steam box, pile of shit. What all happened during the 4th of July? Well, the rehearsal for the American State Fair, a series of dancers were almost crushed by falling signage. Luckily, they solved these problems, and on the day of the American State Fair, nobody suffered any injuries. And the White House has declared we might get a fifth base on Mount Rushmore, and that there will be no better candidate than President Donald Trump. Trump's speech had to be postponed due to inclement weather, but the MAGA supporters disobeyed safety guidelines and the police and decided to wait it out in the storm. And 100 Patriot Front members would march on Washington, D.C., saying they're taking back the entire fucking nation. Now, what are they bitching about? Who knows? Some people that claimed that it was Antifa, but there was no arrest made. And when we're on the topic of Antifa, Stephen Miller has declared that far-left violence would be considered to be domestic terrorism. Turns out that charge is real after all. There's also been a huge outbreak of diarrhea, and it's been identified as the virus cyclosporia, and has been found in 5 states. Now, this outbreak was first noticed by Taco Bell, and the FDA made a statement that once again it was traced to Taylor Farms. But later on, they took back that statement, and they said it was a false positive. And we all know the FDA barely ever makes a false positive, so somehow somebody fucked up. Somebody got paid off. Now, Mitch McConnell has been hospitalized for weeks, and there's no update on his status until his office posted an AI picture of him saying that he was all right. And in relation to that, Senator Lindsey Graham has passed away. The Supreme Court has ruled to uphold birthright citizenship. The Heritage Foundation CEO Kevin Roberts has stated that this is a betrayal to the United States and an assault on the sovereignty of the country. We might as well not have a nation if we don't repeal birthright citizenship that was in the fucking Constitution. 79 have been accused in the Minnesota fraud case. Instead, the fraud might consist of $300 million they're misappropriated. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce finally held their wedding ceremony, and all reports state that it was a bunch of fucking bullshit and an absolute disaster. A Louisville serial killer has finally been arrested. Now, considering that Louisville is filled with flock cameras and nobody picked up on it until the detectives got on the case, it seems like flock cameras aren't really to prevent crime. Insiders have said that Trump's planning on canceling the midterm election. It's some kind of national emergency that has not happened yet. He's also stated if you don't vote for Republican candidates, you might not get federal aid anymore. But the Supreme Court has already refunded over $1 billion that were taken with the Trump tariffs. Donald Trump also made a public statement that his children have insider knowledge when it comes to deals he makes and policies he passes in regards to their effects to the stock market. Also, the $13 billion that the United States has seized from the Venezuelan oil sales have gone missing. And President Donald Trump has fired 3 members from the Election Assistance Committee. And insiders have also stated that President Trump has chosen his future successor. Now that might seem like a weird choice of words, considering that we're a constitutional republic with democratic elections, but Stephen Miller himself said that the United States is now a dictatorship. President Trump's also cutting off trade with Spain. Has this anything to do with them refusing to aid the United States in their attacks against Iran? It's also been unveiled that the FBI has a training video that teaches agents how to flag and redact Trump's name from the Epstein files. But while we are on the topic of the Epstein files, Attorney General Todd Blanche are finally meeting with the survivors of the Epstein trafficking ring and speaking to their family members as well. Will this result in any justice? Probably not. And since we're talking about Epstein, let's go and talk about big-time Epstein fan Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate has been arrested by U.S. Marshals to be extradited to the United Kingdom to face more criminal charges regarding human trafficking. Andrew Tate said he's not too worried about it, and he has pleaded to the administration to try to save him from the extradition. On the flip side, notoriously insane low-cal pedophile Daniel Larson got released from prison. He's residing in a halfway home and will have limited internet and phone usage. And while we're on the topic of rapists, pedophile, human traffickers who beat their loved ones and are probably at least a little bit gay, we're going to transition to our main topic of today. Sean Puff Daddy Combs, brother love. Who is he? What was his music career, acting career, and business career like? What accomplishments has he reached? What crimes has he committed? And most importantly, what does the public think about Puff Daddy? And how does this affect the lives of the average Americans, such as you and I? This is Giraffe TV.
So it goes. I didn't have answers.
Puff Daddy is a rapper, a record producer, a record executive, and a dancer. He was born on November 4th of 1969 in Harlem and was raised with his younger sister Keisha. His mother Janice Combs worked as a model, a fashion show organizer, and a teacher assistant. His father, Melvin Earl Combs, served in the Air Force, worked in a hair salon, and was known as being a drug dealer. And he may have been an associate of the convicted drug lord Frank Lucas. In 1972, at age 33, Sean Combs' father, Melvin, would be shot to death while sitting in his car on Central West Park. Although no one was ever convicted, it was allegedly Walter Grant, an associate of the mafia supply drug dealer Willie Abraham. In his childhood, Sean Combs was an altar boy and was raised in the Catholic Church. He got the nickname Puff because he'd huff and puff when he got angry. He played football in school and even won a division title. He would graduate in 1987 from Mount St. Michael Academy, an all-boys Catholic school in the Bronx. Although he was raised Catholic, he doesn't really consider himself a part of any particular religion and just says he has faith in God. And he was a business major at Harvard, where he's known for throwing massive parties and beating the shit out of his girlfriend, a reputation that will follow him for his entire fucking life. Let's take a peek at his personal life. He owns a home in Alpine, New Jersey that he purchased for $7 million. He's father to 7 children. His first biological child, named Justin, was born in 1993 to the fashion designer and stylist Missa Hilton. Justin attended UCLA on a football scholarship and graduated in 2016. Combs had a tumultuous relationship with Kimberly Porter from 94 to 2007. He'd adopt and raise her son Quincy, who was born from a previous relationship, Combs' rival, Al B. They had a son named Christian, born in 1998, and twin daughters, born in 2006. Porter would later die of pneumonia in 2018 over the course of 3 days. Interestingly, nobody really sought medical help. 5 months before the birth of his twins, he had a daughter, born to Sarah Chapman, who he took legal responsibility of in October of 2007. He was in an 11-year relationship with Casey Ventura, and Combs' 7th child was born on October the 15th of 2022 to Dana Tran. You watching Giraffe?
The music career of Diddy.
Now let's take a peep at his musical career. He's considered to be one of the wealthiest musical artists of all time, and he topped the Forbes Hip Hop Rich List from 2014 to 2017. He's won 3 Grammy, 3 BET Awards, and 2 MTV Awards. And he has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Started out as an intern in 1999 for Uptown Records before becoming a talent director. And he would discover and develop many stars, such as Biggie Smalls, Jodeci, and Usher, among many others. 1991, he would hold a fundraiser for AIDS research at the College of New York City's gym. Unfortunately, this would result in a disaster. 9 people would lose their lives in a crowd crush. Now, unfortunately, it's hard to control a crowd crush. There's very little you can do once it occurs, but it is a mark against his legacy. He would state to the media that he feels very remorseful of this event, but a lot of the families of the victims say that he never really reached out, and they didn't really believe the feelings were sincere. And eventually, Diddy got fired from Uptown Records, but he would start Bad Boy Records soon after, and would bring Biggie with him, and they would release Ready to Die in 1994, and he would sign Carl Thomas, Faith Evans, 112, Toto, Father MC, The Hitmen, and would work with Jodeci, Mary J. Blige, Usher, Lil Kim, TLC, Mariah Carey, Boyz II Men, SWV, and even the soul legend Aretha Franklin. Mason the Locks would join during the East and West Coast rivalry, and he would produce songs for TLC. This is around the time where Tupac and Suge Knight would start to trash talk Diddy to the media. In '96, Diddy released Can't Nobody Hold Me Down. Spent 28 weeks on the Billboard's Hot 100 and would peak at number 1. And then he would release his debut, No Way Out, on July the 22nd of 1997. But he had to make several changes after Biggie's death. It would feature numerous artists from his label, and it would sell 561,000 copies. And it had songs such as I'll Be Missing You, Can't Nobody Hold Me Down, It's All About the Benjamins, Been Around the World, Victory, and Come With Me, which was featured in a 1998 Zilla movie. It wasn't Godzilla, for the record. We all know that they took the God out of Godzilla in that movie. In '98, he would get several Grammy nominations and win Best Rap Album. His sophomore album, Forever, was released on August 24th of 1999. It was number 2 on the Billboard, number 1 on the hip-hop R&B charts, and he would change his name from Puff Daddy to P. Diddy. He would state plans to release a gospel album in March of that year, and it never got released. He would manage Killers and was an opening act for NSYNC during their spring 2002 celebrity tour, and he was signed to female pop group Dreams. He gained full control of Bad Boy Records and ended distribution with Arista Records in June of 2001. Later that year, he would release The Saga Continues, which would also reach number 2 on the Billboards and top the hip hop and R&B records. And in 2004, Sean Combs would perform at the Super Bowl. So don't let people lie to you. A lot of people love Diddy's music. Now, he would use a ghostwriter for pretty much every damn song he was on, and didn't really seem to have an artistic message he wanted to spread. Other than that, he wanted to get a shitload of money. On August 16th of 2005, Sean Combs would rename himself Diddy, sold half of his company to the Warner Music Group, and hosted the 2005 MTV Music Awards show, and would be named one of the 100 most influential people by Time magazine. In 2006, Sean Combs would refuse to release Maze from his contract and would prevent him from joining G-Unit. In response to this, 50 Cent would write a diss track called Hip Hop, and the lyrics would imply that Diddy knew the identity of Biggie Smalls' killer, and this feud would continue on to the modern era and would continue to cause Diddy problems. Now, for the record, I was never a Diddy fan, but I was always a 50 Cent fan. Press Play was released on October 17th of 2006. It was number 1 on the Billboards and sold 173,000 copies, and the song Come to Me and Last Night with Chart. September 18th of 2007, Sean Combs would team up with 50 Cent and Jay-Z for the Forbes I Get Money $1 Billion remix. His lyrics were ghostwritten by 50 Cent, and 50 Cent would basically clown Diddy, and Diddy never fucking noticed. Once again, pointing to the idea that he doesn't really have a musical message and doesn't really give a shit what his lyrics say. Don Richards and Kalina Harper would be recruited in 2009 to create Diddy, Dirty Money, and they would release one album Last Train to Paris, and had 4 singles: Angels, Hello, Good Morning, Loving You No More, and Coming Home. On most accounts, it's considered pretty fucking shitty. 2019, Diddy reconstructed supergroup The Dream Team. It had him, it had Rick Ross, DJ Khaled, Fat Joe, Busta Rhymes, Red Cafe, and Fabulous, and they would proceed to do absolutely nothing. 2014, Diddy released the song Big Homie featuring French Montana and Rick Ross to promote his mixtape. Later, he and the Israeli producer Guy Gerber would release the free downloadable album 1111. In 2015, he and Pharrell Williams would release Finna Get Loose to promote No Way Out 2. No one really gave a shit. The album wasn't released and the tour was cancelled. Later, Diddy would announce his retirement from music, and that was a fucking lie. On May 20th of 2016, Diddy would launch a tour of Bad Boy Records' biggest names. This was to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the label. 2017, Sean Combs would officially come back to music and rename himself Brother Love. This would result in nobody giving a shit once again. He would open Love Records and sign Juicy. Diddy would serve as the executive producer of Burna Boy's 2020 album, Twice as Tall. In June 2022, he would release the single, Gotta Move On, and his 5th album, The Love Album, Off the Grid. On September 15th of 2023, with the lead single, Another One of Me, which featured The Weeknd, 21 Savage, and French Montana. But even they couldn't really save this fucking song. But it still will receive a nomination for the Best Progressive R&B Album at the Grammy Award. Now we covered his music career, which started off extremely successful and then became kind of fucking mid.
This is a Giraffe production.
The acting career of Diddy.
Let's look at his acting career. In 2001, he was starring in films Made and Monsters Ball. From 2002 to 2009, he would serve as the executive producer of the MTV program Making the Band, which would interview newcomers to the music industry, like The Band, Danny Kane, Day 26, and Donnie Klong. And he would play Walter Lee Younger in the 2004 Broadway revival of A Raisin in the Sun, and was starring in a televised adaptation in 2008. In 2005, he'd star in Carlito's Way, A Rise to Power. And in August of 2008, he would helm the show I Want to Work with Diddy, which sounds fucking terrifying if you ask me. And he'd make an appearance in CSI Miami. And he also starred as Sergio Roma in Get Him to the Greek, which honestly was a pretty fun movie. And we can kind of tell that he was more or less just playing himself. Looking back, the whole cast kind of looks like a bunch of fucking assholes. And on April 18th of 2011, he was starring in Hawaii Five-0. Also in November of 2012, he was starring in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Once again, I found his performance kind of enjoyable. Like, I honestly prefer him as an actor than a musician. And he did plan on bringing back Making the Band, but those plans kind of got fucked up the ass because of COVID.
This is Giraffe.
The business career of Diddy.
Let's look at his business career. Fortune magazine will list Combs as number 12 on the 40 under 40 entrepreneurs of 2002. Forbes magazine would estimate that Sean Combs has made $130 million by the end of May 2017, which would rank him number 1 of the world's entertainers for that era. And he would top the Forbes annual rich list in the hip-hop industry from the years 2014 to 2017. And he was one of the world's wealthiest music entertainers and had an estimated net worth of $1 billion by 2022. Combs Enterprise is Sean Combs' umbrella company that all of the other ones work underneath. So let's look at some of his individual business. Of course, there's the Sean John clothing line. It was started in 1998. Billionaire Ronald Burkle would invest $100 million into the company in 2003. In late 2006, he did get a setback. Macy's removed his clothing line from the shelves. They stated it was because the clothing utilized raccoon dog fur. Diddy would act quick and have production stop and rectify the problem. In November of 2008, Sean Combs would add the cologne I Am King to his production lines. And he would dedicate it to great black Americans such as Barack Obama, Martin Luther King Jr., and Muhammad Ali. And in early 2016, Sean Combs would introduce the girls collection to his brand. He would also open up his restaurant, Justin, which had 2 locations, and they were closed in 2007 and 2012. I guess he doesn't really shine in the culinary arts, but he would also design the Dallas Mavericks alternative jersey in the years of 2004 to 2009. In October 2007, Combs would agree to develop Ciroc vodka brand and received a 50% share of the profits until they were acquired by Diageo, who then canceled the partnership. On October 21st of 2008, Sean Combs would acquire the United clothing brand for $20 million. He also has a major equity stake in the TV network Revolt. He would once again team up with Ronald Burkle and Mark Wahlberg to purchase a majority shareholdings in Aqua Hydro exaggerate. 2019, Combs would team up with Kevin Lin, the Twitch co-founder, to become an investor in Play Versus, providing an infrastructure for competitive gaming in United States high schools. This is Giraffe Productions.
Maybe we will find the answers on the street.
What's your opinion on P. Diddy?
P. Diddy? Shit. Oh. Shit, P. Diddy?
Yeah.
Man, P. Diddy. Fuck. Man, if fucking children wasn't enough, bro, you should watch the fucking footage of him with, what is the song called? Every Breath You Take? Dancing around on stage.
This right here, tell me what goes out.
Sting and Faith Evans?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your opinion on the allegations? You believe any of them? You believe all of them?
Well, damn straight. I was onto it beforehand, but
Got trapped in a rabbit hole on YouTube? Got in the comment section?
you gotta know what's up, but man, yeah, like I was saying, man, if raping children wasn't enough, watch that fucking video. Watch him dance around right after killing his best friend. He's a sick motherfucker, bro.
Alright, well thank you for your time, man.
Get that shit back.
Alright. P. Diddy, what do you think about him? As a person?
P. Diddy?
Yeah. And what do you think about the allegations?
P. Diddy?
Yeah, P. Diddy.
No, I can't do.
Bro, okay, hold up. Let me explain to you. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
dude,
20
like
seconds, and here's the thing. It was a highly publicized trial. Everybody gets an opinion, positive or negative. You're not gonna be singled out. I mean, it makes sense that you gotta have some kind of opinion.
A smart businessman. I know he's done a lot for charity and given to the community. Found a lot of famous artists, and
He was good and get him to the
I think
Greek.
he was good and get him to the Greek.
Yeah. What do you think about the allegations? Do you think allegations sound fishy? Does it sound legit?
I don't know if I
Look, dude.
Okay, I'm not any kind of muggle scientist or
Okay, I get it. You're not a detective. You're not a lawyer. Do you think he did that shit? He got locked up for it.
I've got kids.
Okay, so neutral.
Neutral. I can't really deal with this
Okay.
right now, dude.
Nothing
yeah.
Well, I guess I fucked that one up. Fucking asshole.
This is a Giraffe Production.
Charitable work on Sean Combs.
So if all of Sean Combs' alleged crimes, all of his shady underdealings, how did he remain in the public's good graces? Well, let's look at his charity work. In 1995, he founded the Daddy's House social programs. It was to help the inner city youth with tutoring, life skills classes, and annual summer camps. Diddy and Jay-Z donated $1 million to the victims of Hurricane Katrina, and he would donate some of his clothing from his Sean John clothing line. He would donate books and computers to schools in New York City. And October 13th of 2006 was dubbed Diddy Day by Chicago Mayor Richard M. Daley for all Diddy's charity work. In 2003, he ran the New York City Marathon, raising $2 million for the educational system of New York City. 2014, Combs would get an honorary doctorate from Howard University in the study of humanities, gave a commencement speech, and then donated $1 million in 2016. He would also establish the Sean Combs Scholarships to help young adults pay their tuition. And when he received his BET Lifetime Achievement Award, he vowed to donate $1 million each, Jackson State University and Howard University. So from an outside view, it would seem that Combs is a very generous guy, very invested in the future of America, very invested in the well-being of the youth. You're watching a Giraffe Production.
The white part is
Sean Combs would also be famous for his white parties, also known as Diddy parties. They were named after the all-white dress code and were held from 1998 to 2009. Now, after the normal people left, they would turn into freak-offs, and they were considered a very desirable event. Celebrities from all sorts of backgrounds to attend, and this would mark the peak of the stranglehold Sean Combs had on the entertainment industry. If you didn't get invited to a white party, you were a fucking loser, and if you didn't stay for the freak-offs, you were a fucking square. Now, since we're talking about the Diddy parties, let's look at the legal issues. You're watching Giraffe TV.
This is about to get dark. Let's relax with some ASMR.
So what's the day in your life look like?
First thing I do in the morning, first thing I do when I open my eyes, drop to my knees. I cross my hands. I thank God that Diddy didn't get me last night. I thank God that didn't wake up gay. I thank God that I don't got a sore booty hole. Second thing I do, I get on Grindr. Then I check on Grindr. Well, hold up. Now I'm trying to hunt him down for ops-spec purposes. Make sure there ain't no gay man nearby. Make sure there ain't no gay man on the way to work. So I stay away, I go the other way to work. Make sure Diddy ain't creeping outside. Then I head to the bathroom. I don't brush my teeth with a toothbrush. I don't brush my teeth. I just use mouthwash and floss. What I look like? Running a toothbrush in and out of my mouth? With your toothbrush in your mouth and going back and forth. That's gay. Can't be me. Then I get dressed and head to work. Then I hop in my Miata Mazda. Yeah, I drive a 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 Mazda. Low on gas. Less time at a gas station. Gas stations where a lot of drug-induced homosexuality occur. Low on maintenance. Less gay. Last thing I need to do is head to the mechanic shop. What I feel like a bunch of old up, greasy men crawling around in and out of my car. Had some oily, sweaty man saying he needs to look at my undercarriage. I think not. I head to work. I dodge the rainbow streets. I'm good. I dodge the rainbow stairs. Might stop and grab me a snack at the grocery store. Ask the clerk man like, hey yo clerk man, what a dick-shaped foods are. What a dick-shaped food. So I can go the other way. If I see a banana, if I see a Snicker bar, if I see anything dick-shaped, I'm gonna start kicking that shit.
Where do you work at?
I work at the hair salon. Yeah, I work at the hair salon. What I look like working at a barber shop, trimming up dudes, caressing their heads, telling them they look good, pulling out the mirror, let him check himself out. Fuck no. I ain't working at a factory with a bunch of sweaty, hot, oily men. Couldn't be me. Sweating on each other? A bunch of men getting all greasy and grimy with me? Hell no. Sweating and panting and gallivanting over each other? That's gay. I work with women. When I go on break on my job, I double check Grindr. You should know gay men secretly in the hair salon. Yeah, might get on the internet, see what's up. Yeah, I got an ad blocker. Keep getting too many gay ads. Then I get back to work, close out my shift, then I head home. Sometimes after work I go on patrol at the Walmart. Make sure there ain't nobody spending too long in the underwear department. You're standing there for 10 minutes looking for underwear. What you looking for? What you hunting for? What you searching for? It's boxers. It's underwear. Make your selection. Leave the aisle. Make sure nobody's checking out any gay drinks, gay food. If you go grab me a case of beer, think you should know man's picking out White Claw for himself? Or a seltzer, near beers. Here to check out, hop in the Miata. Head on to the house. Take a shower. No, I don't be wiping in my booty hole. I don't go start rubbing in my booty hole, trying to keep it clean. Why you cleaning it up if you ain't expecting company? Taking a shower, standing there, caressing yourself, rubbing on yourself. What am I doing inspecting over there? Hell no. I stand under the water, and then I get out.
Are you going steady with anyone right now?
Hell no. That sounds gay. When you start doing that, she thinks she can move in with you. She starts bringing in lotions and body washes and scented candles. Next thing you know, she got you watching The White Lotus. And you seen a man eat another man's ass in 4K. At that point, you might as well just let her hit you with a strap. You're basically a prison bitch. Before I hit the bed, before I hit the sack, I pray to God again, thinking that I made another day without being gay. Pray to God that Diddy don't get me in my sleep. And before I shut my eyes, I check on Grindr. Make sure ain't no gay man creeping outside my house. And that's a day in my life. And that's what it is like spending one day in my life after surviving the Diddy party. Surviving the Diddy party.
The crimes of Sean Combs.
In 1997, he was sued for landlord negligence. Combs would deny the charges. And in April of 1999, Combs was charged with assaulting Steven Stout of Interscope Records. Stout was the manager for Nas, and Combs would team up with Nas to film a music video for his song, Hate Me Now. There was a scene where Combs and Nas get crucified, and Combs was concerned that it was sacrilegious, that it was blasphemous, and was upset that it ended up premiering unedited. The song charges got lowered to harassment, and Sean Combs would receive the ultimate punishment, 1 day in anger management. On December 27th of 1999, Combs, Jennifer Lopez, and rapper Shine were at Club New York in Times Square. A shooting occurred. Combs would bribe his driver, Walter Fenderson, to claim that the gun was his. Combs and Shine were arrested for 4 weapons charges and a weapons violation. Shine got 10 years in prison. Sean Combs was pretty much fine, but J-Lo did tell him to fuck off. 2001, Sean Combs would be arrested for driving with a suspended license in Florida. 2003, the National Labor Committee would reveal that factories producing the Sean John clothing label were violating Honduran laws. Workers were subjected to body searches. They received involuntary pregnancy tests. Bathrooms were locked and access was tightly controlled. And employees were given mandatory overtime and given sweatshop wages. Improvements were made though, and water and AC systems were fixed. He allowed them to get a labor union and fired the supervisors. They were acting like assholes. Sean Combs would say that labor laws are very important to him. Making sure people get paid a fair wage is important to him. Shit, you can ask any of the rappers on Bad Boy Records. Surely, P. Diddy didn't know what was going on in his sweatshops. In 2003, Kirk Burroughs would sue P. Diddy, saying that he was forced to give up his shares at Bad Boy Records. And this was dismissed because it exceeded the statute of limitation. And in 2005, Combs would get an assault charge filed against him by Michigan television host Rogelio Mills. And ultimately, they ruled in favor of Sean Combs. Later in 2005, Richard Dearlove, a London-based musical artist and DJ, was seeking injunction with the High Court of Justice in London. He would state that he has been performing under the name of Diddy since 1992 and would accept a settlement of £10,000 in damages and more than £100,000 in costs. Ultimately, Sean Combs can no longer perform under the name of Diddy in the UK and instead uses P. Diddy. In 2007, Gerard Reckenitzer would sue Combs for battery, would claim that Sean Combs would punch him in the face outside of a nightclub in Hollywood after Gerard would approach Combs for talking to his girlfriend. In 2008, journalist Chuck Phillips of the Los Angeles Times would claim that the notorious B.I.G. and Combs teamed up and conspired to kill Tupac in the 1994 robbery. It would substantiate these claims with supposed FBI documents, but the newspaper would retract the story and fired Chuck. And in 2012, Dexter Isaac, an associate of the executive Jimmy Hinchman, confessed that he shot Tupac and it was under Hinchman's orders. So who knows what the fuck happened there. 2015, Combs was arrested for aggravated assault after an altercation with his son's football coach at the University of California in Los Angeles. Eventually, the charges were dropped. In May 2017, Cindy Ruda, who previously served as Combs' personal chef, filed a lawsuit against Combs in Los Angeles County Superior Court for sexual harassment and retaliation. This was eventually settled out of court. Now, 2021, Diddy would file a lawsuit against the new owners of Sean John Clothing. It was a $60 million lawsuit and would claim that they used his likeness without his permission and fabricated quotes supporting the new products in their clothing line. And in 2023, he filed a lawsuit against Diageo for racial discrimination. He would claim that the company deliberately kneecapped the sale and marketing of Ciroc vodka and DeLon tequila. January 2024, Sean Combs will withdraw the lawsuit and sever all ties with the company. Now, what the hell happened with Lil Rod? Lil Rod was a former record producer, and on February 26 of 2024, he would file a lawsuit against Combs and accuse him of sexual assault between September of 2022 and November of 2023 when he had worked for him. Accusations were also leveled against Cuba Gooding Jr., who has had 30 allegations of sexual misconduct and will be accused of rape in another lawsuit that was settled out of court. On March 4th of 2024, Lil Rod would file a lawsuit against Combs and his son Justin and would allege that they were involved in a massive cover-up of the shooting of a 30-year-old man at the writers and producers camp that was held at Combs' Showers recording studio in Los Angeles of September 2022. On March 25th of 2024, Brandon Paul, former associate of Sean Combs, was arrested at Opa-locka Airport in Miami-Dade County on 2 charges of cocaine and controlled substance possession. He was released the next day after posting a $2,500 bond. Lil Rod would accuse Paul of being the drug mule for Sean Combs. Now let's look at Cassie Ventura. In late 2023, his former partner would accuse him of rape, sex trafficking, and physical abuse. She would state that he would later blow up her boyfriend Kid Cudi's car. Eventually, a settlement was reached, and the case was dismissed. This is around the time that Diddy would receive numerous allegations of sexual assault, occurring from the 90s to the 2000s. And in March of 2024, the DHS would raid Diddy's properties. May 17th of 2024, CNN would release surveillance footage of Diddy assaulting Casey Ventura, which occurred on March 5th of 2016. The assault was stopped by hotel staff, and Diddy would allegedly try to bribe the staff. According to a federal indictment in September of 2024, Diddy would respond by releasing an apology on Instagram and Facebook 8 years after the event. I guess you feel really bad about the event. It only took you 8 years to say something. You're watching Giraffe TV.
The trial of Sean Combs.
Combs was arrested and indicted in the Southern District of New York on September 16th of 2024 on charges of racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and transporting of individuals for prostitution, and was held in federal custody in the Federal Corrections Institution of Fort Dix. Whoa. Pause. No Diddy, no Diddy. He will plead not guilty. His bail was denied 3 fucking times. And his team will reach out to President Trump for a presidential pardon. Combs' lawyers would try to delay the trial for 2 months. It began on May 5th of 2025 with jury selection. Persecution and defense concluded on June 24th. Closing arguments were held on June 26th. On July 2nd of 2025, Diddy was found guilty on 2 counts of transportation for the purposes of prostitution, but he was found not guilty of racketeering or the sex trafficking charges. On October 3rd of 2025, Combs was sentenced to a whopping 50 months in prison and I guess 5 months of supervised release. He already spent 12 months in holding, so it's more like 38 months, and is expected to be released in May of 2028. On November 23rd of 2023, 2 other lawsuits were filed for sexual assault and revenge porn, one which involved Aaron Hall. On June 7th of 2024, Howard University would revoke Combs' honorary doctorate and return his $1 million donation. On October 1st of 2024, it was reported that lawyer team would file as many as 120 more lawsuits regarding incidents that occurred in the 2000s and the 2010s. There will be male and female plaintiffs, 25 who are minors. Tony Busby, one of the attorneys on the team, said that most of the assaults occurred in New York State. Only half of them were reported to the FBI, to doctors, or the police officer. Many claimed to have been drugged or offered hush money. Busby would also say that many of the defendants will be named, and a lot of these names are fucking shocking. And these aren't just bystanders, they're also perpetrators. And they said they've received allegations from thousands of people, and hundreds are still being investigated. This is Giraffe TV.
The world is a dark and uncertain place.
Sean Puff Daddy Combs may have truly been the Harvey Weinstein of the hip-hop industry. So did Diddy do it? You're insane for even asking that. Is the public really upset with the racketeering and corruption, the domestic abuse, the rape, the human trafficking? Or are they more fixated on the fact that Sean Combs is bisexual? Is it a concentrated effort of social engineering and memes to turn P. Diddy into a comedic figure, so we ignored the severity of his crimes? Will President Trump pardon Sean Combs? Will Diddy be charged with more crimes in the future? And will it result in him once again getting a simple slap on the wrist? Did Diddy cause more harm than good to the hip-hop community? And what about all the people tied to Diddy? So many people have been implicated in these crimes. The sheer scale and reach seem almost unbelievable. Are they ever going to face any punishment? And what does it say about the culture of the elites? And now that people such as Diddy, Epstein, and Weinstein have been exposed, can we truly say that they're the only ones involved in a human trafficking ring? Are there other Epsteins out there? And the only conclusion I can reach is that the most horrible conspiracy theory is true after all. The global elites are all involved in the most depraved crimes you can imagine, and they're being blackmailed by other entities. Conclusion: Diddy's music always sucked. He was a leech of a businessman, and his acting career wasn't all that. He may have been a product of his environment. Once you reach a certain age and a certain level of success, you can find help, but he chose to indulge in his sickest fantasies and would even flaunt and took advantage of nearly everyone in his life. So all I can really say is, my entire life I've said that Diddy sucks. I've hated Puff Daddy's music career. I've hated his business career. I've hated his acting career. And I hated his criminal career.
Bust out a freestyle.
I can't rap. And I definitely cannot freestyle. I just don't got a voice for it. It's gonna be terrible.
Come on, do a rap. A Diddy rap.
What do you mean, a song about Diddy? Or from the perspective of Diddy?
Either or.
I'm not doing a fucking rap. And I'm especially not doing a fucking Diddy rap. And I'm not gonna freestyle it.
Come on.
It's gonna be cringe. I'm gonna lose any and all aura that I have. It's not fucking happening.
Don't be a fucking pussy, dude.
Alright, fuck it. I'll do it. We're in this Giraffe talk with a fucking Diddy rap. Now what y'all wanna do? Wanna be date rapers, booty gapers, dick takers, hit the boys with a thug shaker. On the down low with Meek Mills from M&G. Trying to get your hands on everyone's royalties. Sweetheart deals, deep state ordeal. Blackmail, shitty contracts, court appeal. But everything is sealed and concealed. And what you can't have now, you gotta steal. Yeah. Yeah. Don't knock me for trying to bury every single one of my adversary. Freakouts in the mansion, breaking all society sanctions. Them the craziest parts you ever heard. Take a sip, your vision's blur. Show up looking clean cut. Is something covered up with nut? All about the baby or what? Got 1,000 bottles for their butts. Yeah. Yeah. Now it's Sean on the hot track. Melting down like it's hot wax. Running down your backs, down your booty cracks. Don't knock me cause you're boring. Well, I'm just rich and famous. Out here straight up touring. Got a condom hanging out my anus. Everybody wanna be fast, get ass, be a player in a ball with a hard dick. They fuck up, get a soft dick, wear raps and live in squalor with a busted chick. Think you're a fat cat? Where your shiny suits at? Think you're a fat cat? Where your stacks at? Think you're a fat cat? Where your prostitutes at? Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Now y'all wanna fight me. Y'all trying to indict me. Y'all wanna jail me? Trying to go and rail me? Trying to expose my lies. Trying to ruin my disguise. Witness my downfall? Make me a goofball. Y'all wanna see me cry? Make me scream why? Give me a bad rap? Give me a nut tap. Y'all wanna backstab me? Y'all wanna booty grab me? You're trying to end my career? Trying to call me a queer. Yeah, that was fucking terrible. Anyways, I think I'm just gonna start breaking shit.